The airport's fluorescent lights flickered on and off, creating a spooky glow on tired travelers' faces. My family and I were moving through the crowded place, carefully maneuvering our way and pulling our suitcases along. We were excited about our vacation, but little did we know that the horrors we would encounter were much worse than any travel inconveniences. As we neared the security checkpoint, my wife and I made eye contact, understanding the difficulty of managing our lively 6-year-old daughter, Lily. She was full of boundless energy, swiftly moving between strangers and joyfully giggling while we struggled to keep pace. The security area was chaotic, with unhappy travelers and busy TSA officers. I closely watched over Lily as she held onto my finger. We slowly moved forward in the line, getting closer to the X-ray machine. As we got closer to the moving belt, I noticed a man wearing a tattered jacket. He looked awkward, surrounded by families, standing by himself. For a brief moment, our eyes met before he quickly looked in a different direction, his dark and unsettling gaze unsettling me. I felt a shiver, but I ignored it because I thought it was just me being paranoid. Airports are crowded with unknown individuals. I kept Lily near me as our items went through the scanner, making sure she stayed within my reach. The man with the old jacket was now following us, and there was an uneasy atmosphere. I quickly looked at him again, and this time he stared at Lily for a longer time. I felt my heart skip. I felt increasingly uneasy as the security process seemed to drag on forever. The man kept his distance, but the way he observed us made me feel uneasy. My wife saw that I was uncomfortable and gave me a worried expression. "Everything okay?" she whispered. I pretended to smile, but deep down I felt that something was seriously amiss. Carrying our possessions, we made our way to the departure gate with the man following closely behind us, as if he were a shadow. I sped up, but he kept up with us. Upon arriving at the gate, I made the choice to approach the man. I looked back, prepared to ask for an explanation regarding his disturbing actions. He disappeared, engulfed by the crowd. I looked at all the people around me, feeling panic starting to rise. Where did he go? We heard the announcement to board the plane and got in line to enter. I had a persistent feeling that the man was still watching us, hiding in the shadows. I was filled with worry about Lily's well-being, and my thoughts were spinning quickly. Once we were seated, the noise of the airplane's engines drowned out the commotion of the airport. I attempted to dismiss my sense of worry, convincing myself that I was being too anxious. As the plane was driving on the runway, I felt a knot tightening in my stomach. Although the flight was without incident, my anxiety grew stronger upon landing. I had a hope that the man wearing a tattered jacket was just something I imagined, related to the hectic airport scene. However, when we got off the plane, I noticed him again, standing by the gate. I was completely certain that he was following us this time. I quickly took hold of my wife's hand and moved her to the side. "We require assistance," I quietly whispered, urgently noting that the man was tailing us. With fear, her eyes widened when she quickly looked behind me. Desperate looks on our faces, we rushed towards the nearest airport security personnel. I described the situation, showing how worried I was about my daughter's safety through my words. The security team quickly acted, notifying the local authorities and starting a search for the man wearing the tattered jacket. We were taken to a safe place and anxiously awaited news. I felt a strong sense of panic and fear as I worried about what might happen next. While we were sitting, I found myself rethinking what had happened. In such a large airport, how was this man able to focus on us? Was Lily in danger? Time seemed to drag on endlessly, and with each tick of the clock, my fear grew stronger. Finally, a police officer came up to us with a serious face. They found out the man's identity and uncovered a disturbing fact. He had previously tried to kidnap children. I felt my stomach knotting up, and a wave of nausea came over me. The sound of Lily's innocent laughter stayed with me, reminding me of how different things could have turned out. Despite the man being caught, the emotional distress remained, as confirmed by the authorities. Our previously exciting vacation turned into a complete nightmare. The airport, typically a place of hectic change, had now become the setting for a parent's worst nightmare. Afterwards, we discovered that the man had been secretly observing families to find easy prey. If we hadn't been watchful, and if airport security hadn't acted fast, things could have gone much worse when he stared at Lily with bad intentions. As we exited the airport, the chilly night breeze made my face tingle, and I held Lily tightly, very much aware of how delicate life can be. The terrible events of that day will always stay in my mind, reminding me that danger can be found in unexpected locations. In the weeks that came after, I couldn't get rid of the feeling of being exposed that had taken hold of me. The airport used to represent excitement and exploration, but now it serves as a chilling reminder that darkness can invade everyday experiences. The shadows created by the flickering fluorescent lights appeared to communicate a disturbing message. Being watchful, even in regular situations, could mean the difference between safety and unimaginable terror. The airport was full of the typical commotion, people hurrying, the continuous sound of announcements, and the smell of expensive coffee hanging in the air. I was at gate 23, waiting for my flight and looking at my phone, when things went from normal to horrifying very quickly. Two regular guys entered, appearing like they casually came from a coffee shop nearby. Their eyes had a strange, intense gaze that gave me an eerie feeling. They held a plain black bag, like the ones typically used for snacks or laptops, rather than something suspicious. I couldn't resist, so I continued watching them. Unlike typical travelers, they appeared to be knowledgeable and certain of their surroundings. They did not waste time, but went directly to the check-in counter with determination. The atmosphere changed at that moment. I caught fragments of their discussion, whispered threats and mysterious commitments. I felt a wave of discomfort, and I sensed that everyone around me felt the same. Something didn't feel right. Not at all. My heart raced when the two men reached into the bag. The whole terminal became silent and tense when they revealed what appeared to be an improvised bomb, complete with wires and blinking lights. The crowd became overwhelmed with panic, their eyes wide and whispers frantic. I couldn't believe what was happening. My mind was struggling to understand the nightmare that was unfolding. The pair suddenly began shouting, catching others off guard. They spoke a strange combination of requests and craziness. They alleged that the bag had sufficient explosives to transform the airport into a battlefield. The terrified people nearby exchanged looks with expressions of disbelief, just like mine. The security personnel quickly approached, but the two men reacted swiftly. They held up the scary bag, warning that they would explode everyone if anyone got too close. The crowd was seized by fear, which held them as tightly as the hands of someone confronting the unfamiliar. One of them shouted, warning everyone to stay away, or they would harm everyone present, with his voice filling the terminal like a chilling symphony. The security team was unsure and stuck in a terrifying and tense situation. The tension in the atmosphere was intense, and everyone could feel the fear in the air. Time seemed to drag on forever as we remained prisoners under the control of these crazy individuals. In the middle of the chaos, a mother held her child tightly while crying. A businessman's polished appearance broke down as he dropped his briefcase, hinting at trouble ahead. A surge of adrenaline rushed through me, triggering my fight-or-flight instinct to flee, but my legs remained frozen in place. The two men kept scaring others, enjoying the fear they caused. They demanded attention by raising their voices in a disturbingly loud manner. The airport, which was once very busy, now appeared still and threatened by a disaster. As hope began to fade, the security team bravely summoned their last bit of strength. With caution, they circled the two men, hands ready on their weapons. The airport had become a strange battlefield, where innocent people were caught in the chaos. Next, a security officer with a determined look in his eyes and a firm jaw stepped forward, becoming the hero of the situation. He bravely moved forward despite the looming danger, The officer's voice provided stability amidst the chaos as he spoke to the two men, causing everyone to hold their breath together. The atmosphere suddenly changed in a surprising way. The intense energy that had taken hold of the terminal started to decrease. The security officer stayed calm and brought some sanity to the chaos. The negotiation was filled with tension, resembling a high-stakes poker game where human lives were at stake. The security officer tactfully handled the situation, giving his colleagues enough time to position themselves strategically. The risk was extremely high, and there was a lot at stake. The security team approached as time passed. Everyone held their breath together, creating a sense of stillness in the world. After that, they quickly subdued the two men and took the bag from them. The crowd felt relieved and grateful that they wouldn't perish in the empty terminal. The security team, who are often overlooked, secured the bag and discovered that it was just a fake with wires and lights, without any actual explosives. The two men were caught, and their period of causing fear was stopped suddenly. Gradually, the airport returned to normal after being affected by fear. The emergency services quickly arrived at the scene to keep the passengers safe from the horrifying performance. Even after the adrenaline faded, I still felt vulnerable. The illusion of safety we assume has been abruptly shattered, revealing the harsh truth that our world is susceptible to the same horrors depicted in films and reported in the media. After the event, as officials investigated, the reasons for the actions of the two men remained unknown. The scars from that day were etched into everyone's memory, whether it was intentional or a prank. Once a symbol of connection, the airport now carried the burden of a collective nightmare that would haunt the memories of those who experienced the true terror.